ago this week, we talked about one of the strangest movies in our apocalypse month with Katie and Jared, Marc, Caro, and Jean-Pierre Jeunet's 1991 French surrealist cannibal black comedy Delicatessen. An eerie, vibey, bleak story about post-apocalyptic France, where a worker named Louison, played by Dominique Pignon, arrives at a building owned by a butcher named Clapet, who has a history of butchering and selling the handymen who come to stay at the building to the hungry residents. Caro Jeunet was a pair of filmmakers who found a way to co-direct using their interests to trade off on the work. Jean-Pierre, who would go on to be one of France's most famous modern directors after directing 2001's Amélie, would handle the actual hands-on directing, working with the actors, and Marc Caro would be closer to an art director working on the technical, artistic aspects of the film. I think this division of labor makes sense, as convoluted as many directors might find it, when you watch their films and see how much of the films rely on the dark, bleak, tonal world in them. The combination of surrealist whimsy, humor, and grotesque bits make this possible. The world around the characters is just as important as the characters. Tonight we're going to be talking about an even bolder, bleaker, and more surreal project they collaborated on right after Delicatessen, and that is 1995's The City of Lost Children.
Bouge pas! Bouge pas où je te trouve!
This film takes on something of a dark fairy tale quality. The basic story revolves around a port city mired with poverty and orphans who are kidnapped by a cyborg cult. One of the main guys of the cult is our old friend Nagi from Cemetery Man, and then sold to an evil scientist named Crank, living in a tower with his dwarf wife and 6 brothers who are all clones of Dominique Pignon and a talking brain. And the scientist repays them in cyborg eyes and ears. This scientist and his family were made by a mad inventor who gave them all flaws, and Crank says that he is unable to dream. He claims this has prematurely aged him, and so he invented a machine that can allow him to steal children's dreams. Only the children are all afraid of him and traumatized, and all their dreams turn into nightmares. As they run around looking for children to steal, very dark fairy tale Brothers Grimm coded here, the cyborg cult stumbles on a circus where there are plenty of young children begging. After the head of the circus gets stabbed, the cyborg cult kidnaps a young boy who has been adopted as a little brother by the circus strongman, One, played by Ron Perlman, who learned just enough French to learn his lines, which I think is actually pretty awesome. In order to get this little brother back, One enlists the help of a group of kids who have been orphaned into being part of a jewelry stealing racket run by a conjoined twin named the Octopus.
Ça va quand même pas lui arriver un accident.
One child, Miette, who is just as wise beyond her years as One is naive and childlike, maybe because he can't really speak the language, I don't know, helps One on this odyssey. And between the cyborgs, strange animals, and the octopus, not to mention the fact that the whole city is surrounded by endless water, it very much does feel like an odyssey. In his quest to save his little brother from the evil clutches of Crank, the child kidnapper. This is a very strange, very interesting film, deeply surrealistic, deeply chaotic, both in the fairy tale-like environment that Caro and Jeunet managed to really build up here, and the exploration of children's dreams and children's trauma. And, like Dominique Pignon diving down into the sea, I'm excited to delve into it tonight.
Encore dans mes bras, avec toi je veux jusqu'au jour, c'est cette rumba d'amour. Mais fermez-la!